Welcome to the Living Room Vibe podcast. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes, creating a space where real people have raw conversations. Make yourself at home and let's get into it. So, have you ever noticed how the best conversations always seem to happen in living rooms? Not meeting rooms, not fancy restaurants, but in those comfortable spaces where you can just kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Hey. But yeah, pretty much. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet and just be. That's why I created this podcast. And I'm so excited that you're here with me on my very first episode. Anyway, as someone who has moved from California to Miami through foster care to back with my mom to Gainesville for college and now calling Atlanta my home, I know what it means to adapt while staying true to yourself. Like, my journey has been one of those suspense movies that I love, full of unexpected twists, moments that keep you on the edge of your seat, and ultimately lead into something meaningful. Speaking of suspenseful movies, life has this way of throwing plot twists at us. As if life don't be lifing enough already as it is. Like, take my path, for example. If you told college me that sitting in those nursing classes at Santa Fe Community College back in Gainesville, that I'd end up owning my own business and being a co-author of 2 books, I'd probably laugh right in your face. But that's the beauty of our stories, right? They rarely go as planned, but somehow they end up exactly where they're supposed to be. I want you to think of this podcast as your weekly invitation to my living room. A space where we can talk about any and everything. And just like my actual living room, there's always room for laughter because your girl be cutting up. Even when we're tackling the heavy stuff. Because sometimes we gotta laugh to prevent ourselves from crying. I've learned that every story has its own rhythm, just like song lyrics that I often turn to when my own words aren't enough. Anybody else do that? When you're in your mood or in your feelings and you just gotta listen to a certain song because they speak for you? I do this all the time. Over the next few months, we're going to dive into many different conversations, usually with one main topic. But just like any good living room conversation, don't be surprised if we take some interesting detours along the way, because your girl be out here definitely on a roller coaster. But, I promise I won't go too far down the rabbit hole. We'll discuss what it means to find your path, even when it takes unexpected turns. We'll explore the courage it takes to question and evolve your beliefs, the strength in vulnerability, and also the power of maintaining those ride or die friendships, like the ones I've had since college. So, you might be wondering, why a podcast? Well, let me tell you. Let me put it this way. If our lives were a meal, most media only serves the appetizers. They give you the surface level stories, the headline version. But here we're serving the whole damn feast, complete with those family stories that shape who we become. My aim is for each episode to be anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes, but could definitely be longer if things are getting juicy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll be sharing my own experiences, and believe me, from foster care to entrepreneurship to a multicultural marriage to raising an autistic child, I've got the stories, okay? Other times we'll have guests who are out here making moves and creating change in their own ways. What makes this space for me so different is our commitment to keeping it real. No polished perfection, no carefully curated responses, just honest conversations about life as we're living it. And hopefully that makes you feel a little less alone in your own journey. As I wrap up this episode, I want to hear from you. What conversations do you wish people were having? Like, what stories do you want to share? Slide into my DMs. And not like that, guys. I'm happily married. But yeah, slide into my DMs on Instagram at the LRV podcast. Our living room door is always open. Whether you're driving to work, doing laundry, or just taking some self-care time for yourself. Consider this your home away from home. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Living Room Vibe podcast, where real people have raw conversations. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes. Thanks for vibing with me. If you're feeling the vibe, follow us on Instagram at the LRV podcast, as well as hit the subscribe button and leave us a review because it helps more people find their way to our living room. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.